Hey ladies, this is Joy back, coming to you from a place of being finally fearless and finding joy with this week's tip video. This week's video may sound or seem a little bit more serious than the other videos that we've done. I think they're all pretty important. But this week I want to talk about a topic around relationships that are really super not healthy, and a tactic or behavior that is used by people in a relationship with you who are seeking to gain control and keep you in a space that you know that you probably should not be in, but you could be confused about. I want to talk about gaslighting. I don't know if you all have heard the term before, if you know the definition of it, if it's just something that maybe you've heard very quickly on TV or heard other people say and you didn't know exactly what it was. So I want to shed some light onto what gaslighting is, all right? The basic definition of gaslighting is when one person, let's just use the example of a romantic relationship, is trying to convince another person that the reality that they see or think doesn't exist, to the point where you start to think that you are crazy. Like, did that just happen? Because they're really trying to convince me that they never said that to me. They never threw that at me. They never made that promise to me, or even tell me that I said things that I never said, right? So gaslighting is a really old term that came from a really long time ago. It was used a lot of times in movies, like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen like The Burning Bed, in abusive relationships basically, right? So it doesn't mean that you have to be in a relationship where someone is physically abusive towards you for you to feel like you're in a space of gaslighting. It can happen on any level. It can happen in any type of relationship, and it can be very unseeming. Like, you're just like, where did this come from? So I wanted to give you guys a few warning signs that you may be in a situation where you're being gaslit, okay? You're being told that everything that you're thinking is nonsense, and it really makes you question yourself, and it makes you kind of recommit to a situation when you know that maybe you need to recommit to yourself and get yourself in a better position. This person will literally convince you that the things that you thought you saw, you did not see, and that you are completely either crazy or selfish for even imagining these things happen. So I have some warning signs from Psychology Today that I wanted to share with everyone about what it could look like if gaslighting is happening in your relationship, all right? One of the first signs is that the person that you're with tells you blatant lies, like legitimately they tell you lies. Either like if you know that they've been somewhere and you question them about it, they're like, of course I was there. Or you know that you saw them somewhere. What do you mean? You didn't see me. I was at work, or I was, with a friend. You saw them, not only saw them, but looked them right in their eyes. And they will blatantly tell you what you think you saw, it didn't happen, in such a calm and convincing way that you honestly start to believe that you're losing it or you saw this person's twin, okay? They deny they ever said something, even though you have proof of it. You might literally have a text message, like something that is written down, and they will somehow convince you that that text message was either misinterpreted by you or it didn't really come from them. Something that is super confusing, like, well, how come it's not on my phone? Because they deleted it, right? But the fact of the matter is you have evidence in your hand, and they're so convincing and smooth that you start to question either the technology or your own mind, okay? They use what is near and dear to you as ammunition, okay? So they can do things like use your children as kind of ammunition about like your identity on yourself. Like, say you want to make a decision to spend less time with them, or you want to do something on your own, you want to be more independent. They can do things like tell you how selfish you are, how you're so not family oriented, you're so not loyal or committed, you're leaving your kids here. Not making it about them and you having space from that situation, but something that they know is important to you. Maybe it's like, oh, you're not gonna go to church on Sunday? Because they say you decided to go on like a weekend trip with your friends. Like, oh, you're all of a sudden, you're not the kind of Christian I thought you were, or you're not the kind of volunteer I thought you were. You're not gonna go to that today? So they use things like that to put in your mind that your character is somehow faulty when they're trying to control a situation or keep you from doing something that they feel uncomfortable or insecure about you doing, okay? They wear you down over time. So even if they have agreed or understood that there's something that you want to do that maybe is different than what they want to do. And they say, yeah, okay, no problem. Over time, they'll give you little nudges and digs, say little passive aggressive things to make you feel worse and worse about yourself. And they're like, no, it's okay. You could do whatever you said you wanted to go do that. You go ahead and do it. And then just kind of underhandedly have statements like, okay, but the kind of woman who would do that is this. But that's fine. You could do whatever you want to do. I don't mind. Oh, I guess I'll be cooking my own dinner tonight. Oh, it's okay. You go ahead and do whatever you want to do. I hope you have a really good time. So when you get these underhanded passive aggressive statements like that, that is also a part of gaslighting. It is so manipulative, and it gets to you and you think, you're convinced that you made your own decision to maybe stay home. You made your own decision to not go on a trip, to not take a promotion, when in reality, they've kind of been puppeteering the whole time, okay? They try to align people against you. So they may tell a story to someone that is very altered from the reality of what's actually happening in your relationship and ask them questions like, what do you think about this? And their response is going to be based off of the questioning that was given to them, all right? So then if they start getting their friends or even your friends because they throw out like a confusing question about something that you're doing to someone else without giving the whole story, you start to think, well, everyone else is questioning my character as well, and these are people that I trust. It's not just him or her, whatever, that's saying this to me. So maybe I am doing something wrong. So it's like they gather soldiers to make you start questioning yourself, all right? They project onto you. They definitely project onto you. So that means if they're doing something wrong, if they are cheating, if they're using drugs, if they're not coming home at night, if they have a gambling addiction, whatever their issue is, somehow they find a way to literally tap into whatever it is they feel insecure about and name it and claim it for you. Somehow talk about your issue with some type of addictive behavior that you don't have, like, maybe talk about your eating or how you go shopping compulsively, just to kind of keep attention away from them and keep you always confused and questioning your behavior and always trying to sweep up your side of the road because they notice all these deficits about you where you never even have time to look at what they're actually doing. Even if you never even accuse them of it, they're so I have to keep this person on their toes and away from my stuff that they'll get you in the mindset that you are always in the process of having to fix something, okay? They tell you that everyone else is a liar. Ladies, this is a huge one, all right? So this will get you into the space of being isolated. This is one of the biggest things that happens when you are in an unhealthy or abusive relationship, where your partner will convince you that no one can love you the way that they love you. And no one is gonna tell you the truth, and no one's being really honest with you about who you are. They're not gonna call you on your stuff, or they're not gonna uplift you the way that I uplift you, Every opportunity that they get, they will try to do things that wedge you between other people that do care about you, mostly because if they have a reality that they are trying to input into your mind, into your life, in your relationship, they don't want other people that they know can see the truth getting in that and making you aware of this gaslighting. They don't want other people cutting their puppeteer strings, okay? So I don't know if this rings a bell for anybody where you're in situations where your instinct tells you, your mind tells you, your eyes literally tell you this is what's happening, and this person is telling you the opposite. I am always talking about being mindful. So ladies, if this does ring a bell for you, this is your space where you need to tap in and start trusting yourself. Above all others, I'm talking about your friends, your sister, your mom, your brothers, whomever. We do need to check in with other people every once in a while and get perspective. But above all that, you need to check in with your higher self, your higher power. You need to tap in, slow down, and really look at the reality of situations and not give your power of reality to anybody else. So if you have anyone telling you something is not true, that you know to be true, why is this person's mind more equipped than yours? But that's the whole point, right? They literally are making you think that you have a brain that is slow, that is off, you have some type of head injury. They will literally take the time to convince you that something is really wrong with you. Responding to people who are trying to gaslight you, the proper response is not literally trying to sit there and convince them that you know the truth. That is a waste of time. They are putting all this work and manipulation in because they're never gonna own up to the truth. It's not gonna happen, and you don't need it to happen. You just need to know the truth, and you need to know what your next steps are going to be. This is really important. Please do not make your life, your feelings, or your power, or anything you do dependent upon this other person's reaction. It is not your job to convince another person that they are wrong. That is what they've been doing this whole time to you. Not your job. Your job is to protect self, to pour into yourself, and know what it is that you need to do to get you back into a healthy space. Don't wait for an apology. Don't beg for someone being accountable for what they actually did. It's not necessary. You know what your truth is. You know what your journey is supposed to be. Tap back in. I feel like a lot of times we ask questions and we know the answer, and we're just looking for someone else to validate it. But when we do that more and more, this is exactly what gets us into a situation where it's easier to be in a situation where there's gaslighting, because we are so reliant upon other people's answers. Even as people's therapist and coach, I will always say, this is back in your table. We can talk about perspective. I can give you feedback, but at the end of the day, I always want you to be empowered to make the decision. Just because I'm an expert doesn't mean that I have your answers. You are always the expert of your life. I may be an expert in process. Someone you're in an unhealthy relationship with may be an expert in manipulation, but you are always the expert of your life, your love, and your joy. You know your truth. Maintain your truth. Don't give away your power. All right, ladies, so that was a basic definition of gaslighting. If that is you, be aware. As they say, stay woke, right? Tap back into your truth and figure out what it is that you need to do next. Stop giving this person your power. Take back your self-love. Take back your ability to create your own joy and release them back into the world if that's what you need to do, right? So ladies, that was our tip video for today. I hope that was helpful for anyone. And as usual, if there are any questions you want to dig more into what this is, please reach out, leave a comment, leave a question, and I am more than happy to respond.